Wow, this is awesome. This was created with the HBCU alumni. It incorporates icons representing the best of HBCU academics, music, and the campus life. If you've never been on campus, go, because it's a vibe. This is awesome. Great job, NBA.
I love it. Going from something incredibly important to something totally meaningless. I might have started a multi-quarterback beef yesterday. During the television show yesterday, I texted Colin Cowherd a Baker Mayfield tweet. I said, Colin, this must make your show. I then turn on the herd and I hear this.
The ability to see UFOs in the offseason is nowhere near my not top 10 qualifications. Joe Montana, Troy Aikman, Terry Bradshaw, Tom Brady have never seen aliens. I would prefer my guys don't talk about it, but in fairness, Aaron Rodgers also admits he's seen a UFO and he did win a Super Bowl. The ability to see UFOs in the offseason.
It's a perfect Cowherd take, and then Tom Brady comes in with his first good tweet of his life. How do you know I've never seen aliens, Colin? Baker with his 300th great tweet. At your age, you've probably seen a bunch. I feel like I am the patient zero of this entire conversation. It was a great job by Colin, outstanding job by Brady, and Baker, of course, finishes it off where he started it with another perfect tweet. I love everything about this story. I hope Colin leads his show with it today.
Right, keep this up. I may like Baker. Keep this up, Baker. I may like you.
Yeah, that's right.
So this week, J.J. Watt made his decision. He decided he was going to go play for Arizona. We were like, Arizona? That's not a contending team. They finished 8-8 last year. Oh, but then it was released yesterday that J.J. said, maybe it's not all about contending. I kind of like the lifestyle. It's warm. There's golf. There's the sun. Everything about it is great. Okay. The other team he was rumored to be mulling to perhaps go play for, the Green Bay Packers. I wonder if he regrets his decision. And if only there was a way for us to know if there's any part of J.J. Watt that regrets his decision to play in Arizona over the frozen tundra of Lamb. If there was a way that we could know, I mean, as a total aside, separately, he did tweet a picture of his post-workout ice bath in the middle of a frozen lake. But I have no idea whether J.J. is considering that he made the wrong decision to play in Arizona over Green Bay. Wilds, we'll never know. We'll never know what JJ's really thinking, but this was a picture just as a total aside.
Oh, my goodness.
Great shot. Oh, man. Brandon, what do I always tell you? Ball security is job security, yours and mine. And that includes foul balls. Includes foul ball. Take a shot. Oh, I got it. All good. You stand up, you celebrate. Turns out you actually don't have the ball. But you know what? Some people are criticizing this guy for flaunting it. If you think you made the catch, tell the world, buddy. There's no value in just being chill just because you made a diving catch on a Major League Baseball home run. Fantastic job. Keep it up. Don't listen to the haters. They're saying you should have just been, humbly kept the ball. No, you got it. You didn't. But still, I love the enthusiasm, love the confidence.
Wilds, it's not a lie if you believe it. That's what I live my life by. To the latest in Seattle now. We know Russ is frustrated. We know he's listed teams he'd be willing to play for. But up till now, we haven't heard much from the Seahawks themselves, except that they're getting annoyed with how Russ is handling all this. Well, now a report that the Seahawks are actually taking calls on a Russell Wilson trade. What is happening? Brandon, what message does this send?
Yep. Woof. All right, well, first, this isn't unfamiliar territory for the Seattle Seahawks and the Russell Wilson camp. They've taken calls before. This is just the first time it's come out publicly. I think a couple years ago when he was out, in training camp, throwing the ball around on the baseball field, they were like, you know what? We might consider this. We might need to consider, should we pay him so much money and then now we got to turn around and break down our defense? But they end up making the right decision. So I think reality is finally setting in for the Seattle Seahawks where, it might be time to move on from Russell Wilson. And it also sends a message that Pete Carroll, he isn't willing to compromise. There's a certain way he wants to do things. And I knew that Pete was a boss and he was a savage when we went like 9 for 10 in the red zone in training camp. And he wanted us to run this fade route in the tight red a certain way. And then after practice, he said, Russ, Brandon, come here. And we sat there on the side, and I'm trying to explain to Coach, like, Coach, we just went 9 for 10. Russ wanted a certain way. Pete Carroll sat there and listened for 30 minutes. And he said, you know what? I love what you guys are talking about, but do it this way. And then he walked off. Russ sat there, and he wanted to continue the conversation. I said, Russ, the boss has spoken. It's done. Let's go back to doing it the way he wanted us to do it. He wanted me to look like Jimmy Graham. I say all that to say this, Nick. The message is that Pete Carroll, he isn't willing to compromise. There's a certain way that he wants to do things, and he's going to make sure it gets done that way. He doesn't want to let Russ cook.
Well, they are categorically insane for letting it get to this point. You've got, in Houston, a situation where the well has been spoiled with Deshaun Watson. There is no getting him back in the fold. So them not listening to trade offers is irresponsible. You then have a situation in Seattle where the well is not even close to spoiled, where it's just, the water tastes a little funny. What, can I tweak some things? Can I fix some things? And you're like, nope, gotta pick up and move. Land no good. What are you doing? You just keep upping the ante as far as the game of chicken you guys are playing. Stop it. Guess what? Let Russ throw the fade patterns he wants to play. He wants to throw. Let Russ have a seat next to John Schneider. Let him sit on his damn lap if he wants to. I don't understand what they're doing here. It's as if they think Russell Wilson is doing them a favor by giving them a possible out. I am not here to say, Wilds, that Russ has handled this perfectly or that Russ is the perfect football player. Neither of those things are true, but neither of those things are relevant because the Seahawks and Schneider and most notably Carroll evidently do not believe that without Russ, they become irrelevant. I am here to tell you, without Russ, you become irrelevant. And Pete Carroll is not Sean McVay. He's the second oldest coach in the NFL. How much long is it going to take for Carroll to rebuild the Seahawks? And I'll bet you this much. I'll bet you Russell Wilson's playing quarterback in the NFL longer than Pete Carroll's coaching in the NFL. I'll bet you that. So I don't know why Seattle is entertaining this, and I don't know, Wilds, why Seattle hasn't fixed this.
So I agree with you 100%. I'm shocked that Seattle is entertaining it. I think you can just look over at Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. It's like, what happens when we lose an elite quarterback? You go 7-9 and no one cares about you. But I also don't think they're a bunch of fools in Seattle. So I did a little brain exercise with our trusty, rusty researcher, Dusty. And what could they possibly be thinking? And Nick, I know you're a resident GM, but I'm going to steal your hat for a second and be like, is this just all about Russ's money and Russ's cap hit? And we know that he only made $600 grand of a cap hit when they won the Super Bowl. But now he's due 17% of the cap. He eats it up. We know Matt Ryan and the Falcons are going nowhere. We know that, the Packers are doing a similar thing, trying to plan for Aaron Rodgers, but they were great. Still big cap hits. And then when you look, since the salary cap started in 1994, only a handful of times these guys gone to the Super Bowl. Now look, I think they should keep Russ. Nick, as our resident GM, do you think that Seattle is looking at these graphics and being like, look, the numbers don't lie. He's not Tom Brady. We won the Super Bowl when he was making about $1 million. We should move on. He only gets the cap.
No, because I don't think that. Because I think Brandon keyed on the moment. If that's how they felt, then they should have traded him 2 years ago before they gave him the money. His value was just as high as it is now. If they felt like this is going to be Lamborghini prices and we're going to treat it like a four-wheeler, well, then just get 7 four-wheelers. And so once they paid him, they said, we're fine with this. And I don't think it's about the money. I think it's about power. I think it's about the amount of power they will or will not give up, Jenna.
All right, let's take a little turn, play draw in a blank. A report came out that Russ kind of likes the idea of playing for the Chicago Bears.